Meta Perspective Podcast.
Hello, welcome to Meta Perspective Podcast. We're your hosts, Alex,
Evan,
and the girl. This is the show where we talk about deep and interesting topics and try to get at the heart of the idea through different perspectives.
but if you are joining us for the first time, please give the channel a follow and the video a like. We plan to do random giveaways and things like that, so we'd like you to stay active.
Speaking of staying active, don't forget to jump in that chat because you're a part of this conversation as much as we are. We want to hear what you got to say because, of course, Meta Perspective Podcast isn't meta
Without your perspective.
Boom.
Yeah, we've been continuing a series on the mind. First, we kind of established everything with how we understand the mind. We've been friends for a long time. We've talked about these things a lot, so it's nice to kind of put into words. And we're building a series off of that, like the mind in general, and trying to understand it, trying to better yourself, and kind of help understand the tool you're working with. And we felt that the next part of that series would be talking about kind of the negative aspects, because that is probably what most people struggle with the most. That's probably the biggest part. And, conquering something like that, the negativity that your mind creates, things like that, depression, anxiety, fear, doubt, these are all things that everybody struggles with. And, the way to improve yourself is to find a way to, handle those things in a healthy way.
Yeah.
And I feel like the negative aspect is also something that is plaguing society in a way. There's a lot of mental health issues, people, and there's a lot of reasons that could be causing it because things have changed very, very fast in a short amount of time. And we've seen generationally that people are getting more and more. There's more frequency of mental health, and it's a greater percentage of people, younger people especially.
Yeah, just like going from our last episode of like the power of the mind and what it can do. Everything in this reality seems to work by the same principles: up, down, hot, cold, black, white. Everything has an up and a down. Everything has two sides. Even our coins. But
It's in the tails.
But just like the mind, you could take any situation and you could see it two different ways. Maybe more than that, but you could see a situation as good or you could see it as bad, depending on context, depending on how you frame it, how you see it. So depending on if you have control to see the world positively, or you don't feel like you have control and you see the world negatively. That's kind of what this episode is for, is to show people that just like the positivity of the mind and the power you have over it and what it can do, that same power applied negatively can have severe side effects and consequences.
Sorry, mic adjustment. Yeah. Actually, I feel like that's kind of
Yes.
So to kind of get back to the idea that the mind is a tool. It's designed to work a certain way to preserve life. So it constantly doubts, situations, things like that. Like fear is a real thing that can, be caused by everything. It's all relative, fighting in a battle 10,000 years ago with a club and, not much armor or anything like that. Like you get a nick, you get infected, you're dead. Like these are things that like you're afraid of.
But you bring home a good seal.
You bring home, you club those baby seals, and you bring home a big seal, but you don't get scratched by a thorn on the way, or one thorn scratch, and you're gonna get infected and die. It's like it's right for us to be afraid of stuff, and our minds are constantly, the internal monologue is always usually negative. It's always like anxiety for the future and regret for the past. It's always like, oh, you should do this way. You shouldn't have said that to that girl. But like your evolutionary brain is like, oh, you jeopardized your chance of reproducing, blah, blah, blah. Like you're going to die without continuing your purpose. Like, there's these things programmed in us to like have regret, have anxiety. So that's what we're working with is like a outdated model in the new modern world where it's all relative, having to stare down either a saber-toothed tiger or another maybe bigger dude than you, and you both have a club and you got to fight to the death. Like these are the things that like made us afraid back then. But now something like a test that you have to take later this month, it's the same fear response that you get. And like, so it's relative. Like humans are designed to respond certain ways given in that scenario. But so I feel like either one hypothesis, we're creating more scenarios for people to experience that fear and have that fear response, or two, it's kind of like become a psychological brainwashing effect that you're feeding into your own fear for your own psychological pleasure in like in a weird way where it's like kind of a pleasure pain response where sustaining the pain in a psychological way is easier than accepting the reality that you might have to change or that something different in your life, would come to an end. Or it's kind of this fear of change that prevents you from seeing, things the way things actually are. So you'd rather stay in the pain.
It's like, yeah, like the idea of just being mislabeled. It's like it shouldn't create so much anxiety and so much anger and such a response that you would have as like somebody trying to mug you in an alley with a knife.
Yeah.
It's like that's not how I wanted you to see me. It's not like, again, I support anybody being however you want to be. But no matter how you want to be, if you become offended that somebody else doesn't share that same view, at some point you have to accept that either that's just your view or maybe the fact that other people don't have a different view shouldn't scare you. It's like you said, if there's a truth within you and you're like, I'm hiding, like maybe I went through some kind of trauma and I created a different version of me kind of. And every time somebody doesn't acknowledge this version that I'm blatantly telling you, this is the version, help me make this real.
Yeah.
It's the same idea. It's like that you become afraid of looking at the reality, like you said, which causes a reaction of like being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, where it's like, oh my God, what?
Yeah, you're under it's fight or flight
because the psychological ramifications can feel as intense and as severe as a life-threatening situation.
Yeah.
So there's no argument that it's not a real feeling and somebody's not going through a real thing. It's just that it may be a sign to something bigger, or it may be kind of an arrow pointing you in a certain direction.
I mean, like it's like it's the same. That made me think of like, it's very reasonable to have a fear of, you show up to an event and you're wearing the wrong thing. Maybe everyone's wearing a suit and a tie and you're just like wearing a polo and shorts and you didn't even like, you got a belt, but it's not like a centerpiece. So you're not going to like tuck your shirt in because you look like a worker or something, like a food service person.
Yeah.
So it's like, everyone knows that feeling of like, oh, I don't fit in, like, it's like,
I don't feel like I fit in.
Back in the tribe, if you were an outcast and if you were weird or you didn't help or people didn't like you socially, you'd be cast out and you would die. So it's like, it's that same tribal mentality that makes us be afraid of judgment the same way that we'd be afraid of a saber-toothed tiger. It's like, it's that fight or flight, but it's not that. It's a social aspect of survival that like has really taken hold of
And it's-
humanity since we use tools.
It's the same feeling
no
of like,
longer
if
have
this
to-
tribe
yes.
doesn't accept me, I'll be rejected, and where will I be? I'll be alone and by myself,
Right.
and that's as scary as
Less
being
likely
chased
to
by a
survive.
Yeah, because you think I'm alone. Like anything you take on alone is scary.
Yeah.
So the thought of being alone is almost the scariest thought.
I mean,
Because anything that could happen, any scary thing that could happen,
hurt your
is so
ankle?
much worse alone. Yeah,
And now you don't have
break
someone to
break
take-
your leg
bring you water.
hiking. Yeah, you break your leg hiking. I'm alone. Like anything alone is worse. So it doesn't make sense that one of the biggest fear responses would be alone, because it's the biggest common denominator for like, that's it.
yeah, I mean that's true. And in a way, we've artificially substituted tribe for digital, online spaces, things like that, like non-face-to-face, non-interaction, action-based communication. Like as a tribe member, we would be constant interaction, and we would be helping each other eat, survive, craft, or whatever.
It's
We're
like
used to working together.
It's like
but
the instant gratification of, if I
Right.
can be famous even just for like a moment, then anywhere else I go in the world, people will still remember me as that person. And I still have some stake in the tribe. Even if I become nothing, somebody will say, I remember you. And that gives me some kind of leveling over somebody, because some kind of status in the tribe of, maybe I was rejected from the tribe, but you remember me.
Well-
Britney Spears lost her mind, but if you saw her in the mall, you'd be like, oh my God, Britney.
Hey,
Like,
bitch.
you'd be like, oh my God, it's fucking Britney. You wouldn't be like, crazy bitch. You'd be like, oh my God. A part of you would be like, that's actually Britney Spears. You wouldn't even, your brain
But-
would just go to the star.
Well, no,
You'd
see-
go to
see,
the past.
I- I'm
you would
think-
go to the status that they held.
That-
It wouldn't be how far they've fallen. You would see them and be like, this person, if you want to make fun of them, the only reason is because they had a status. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
I think there
perfect
is something to
perfect
the whole
example-
YouTube.
So part of the
Not what
point I
we're
was
doing.
making, like I wanted to keep kind of, this is really where I was getting at. It was that, it's one thing to see Britney Spears on your phone. She's a celebrity. You listen to the music, you like her, you build the passion, something like that. It's another thing to see the person in reality in physical space.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is
That's what I'm talking about, yeah.
To relate back to the loneliness aspect. Like we're used to being in a tribe where we physically interact, we're working on something, we have shared goals, we have shared common interests because we're working towards eating, drinking, hunting, cleaning, building, weaving, all this stuff. It's like we're used to doing things together with people, and that's what builds strong bonds and communities. But we've basically substituted that aspect of our ancestry with this false representation of communication where it's all digital, it's all psychological, textual conversations, or maybe like in the moment, I'm talking to you, I'm here with you digitally, but I can't help you do the dishes right now. We can't go out in the back and like throw the football around or something like that. It's like, I'm representing the idea of community, but I'm actually not engaging in the act of physically interacting around
Exactly.
other human beings. So when I do get into those situations, now, one, I feel weird. I'm not equipped psychologically, but also my physical brain and body, who's taking in nothing except for survival information and knows that I've communicated with all these things, which is a part of my brain that's a very minuscule part of the rest of me. So when I get into a situation where there's a crowd of people, if I feel like they don't like me, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe they all beat me up. Maybe one of them stabs me. Maybe one of them shoots me. It could take one crazy person in a whole group to kill me. It doesn't matter if the group accepts me or not. Now I'm thinking about all of these things that I'm actually not interacting with consciously. I'm actually here to try to make friends, and I'm very nervous because if I don't make friends, I'm not cool, and maybe I can't have sex. But my brain is thinking, if these people don't like me, then they're going to kill me. And I don't know anything different because I haven't interacted physically with many human beings in the last 10 years. It's like people growing up this way. They're playing video games, they're talking to people online, which is toxic culture. And it's like they don't interact. And to get a very long-winded analysis of this, I think that's a big root of the mental health crisis that's not even a solvable thing. It's really just what's become of our lives.
Yeah, no, it's you labeled it out beautifully. I think social media is underrated for the damage it does because of how many levels of you it damages. It's not like oh, you're eating this fatty fried food. It's like you're working out and you're doing other things, but the food you're eating is unhealthy. It's like, yeah, but I'm healthy in every other part of my life. I'll be all right. It's when something happens that causes you to be unhealthy in every part of your life that you start to notice it take effect on your mind. Because your mind can be strong, your body can start breaking down, and your mind can like overpower and bring you back up, at least give you the courage to fight.
Yeah.
But it seems like the mind is what's being attacked nowadays. And you just said it so well. I mean, the way I see it is kind of the exact same thing. It's you have somebody who back in the day, they had to get a certain status in the tribe so that everybody knew I had this to offer. Because I have this to offer, everybody knows me. And I've created a skill trade by learning this and being one of the only people who knows how to do this well.
Yeah.
I've become famous in the tribe because I'm the guy to do that. You want some new shoes? I'm that guy. Nikes? No. Let me show you what I make.
It's weird because people put celebrities in that same mental space.
But so
it's
this is
they
what I'm
picture
getting at.
Britney Spears in their room
Yes.
hanging out with them, or Eminem, like the guy Stan.
So so this is what I'm getting at. It's the same idea. But the difference is no trade, no skill trade. So somebody like Britney, she could sing. She was a great singer. So you take the singer, but singing isn't like a skill trade. Like
I just meant people's connection to celebrities.
I get it. Yeah.
Like, they create a mental tribe.
Yeah.
That's not real.
So that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
So the thing is when you have somebody like that who's really that good at singing, but the singing doesn't really add a value to anybody. Like we all enjoy it, we all this, but like we're still hungry, we still don't have shelter, we still like in a tribe you could sing and stuff and lift spirits, but like you gotta also contribute. But I sang. Yeah, we can all sing. So you have to provide. So the thing is when you have a singer and it's put on this pedestal, it's explosive.
It's a need. It's a want, not a need.
But the celebrity thing, like people say, like celebrities in sports, it's like a coliseum, and it's like the olden days. But realistically, in the olden days, your life was on the line in a coliseum, like. There was a level of skill trade. You had to understand either how to fight, how to wield a weapon. There was levels.
If you insult someone, let's duel, sir.
But it's like if you're going to watch a guy in a coliseum and this guy has won his last 7 battles, there's a reason why he has this admiration. If he ends up getting retired somehow or somehow for whatever reason they pull him out, for any reason, if he gets his freedom to go do his thing, like, the guy will be revered. Everybody will be like, that's the undefeated guy. Doesn't matter that you don't fight anymore and you swore off fighting. You are that guy forever. So you fast forward to now. We already went through the era of celebrityism where everybody in our generation thought, hey, if you learn to sing, learn to dance, learn to play guitar, learn something that catches attention. If you can, because we grew up with the TVs. So it's like, if you learn something that grabs attention, then like you can make it, you can be somebody. You don't know where that feeling comes from. You're just like, I'll be somebody in the tribe. Now we're at a point where it's being sold. Hey, just go online and just whatever you can do to get attention.
Yeah.
The problem with this is, it's like you said, it was so beautifully said. what people are pouring into to get the attention, it's so fake. It's so absent of value.
It goes into the loneliness category, and that's kind of where this whole thing started. Was that like,
but it's
because people feel this way, then their mind starts to get depressed.
yeah.
They start to feel anxious when they're going to meet people. They start
But
to feel regret
all
about
starts,
talking.
But
to
it all
people.
starts with like, let me try to be famous. Let me try to do this stuff with the wrong intentions.
It's the false representation.
It's the I don't need to add value. All I have to do is grab attention. That's a huge switch, because if you're trying to get attention, you're trying to entertain. You could lie, you can bullshit, make up stuff, act a certain way, be a character. Anything can entertain.
Right.
But to add value, it has to be purpose, which is you have to be, and all the opposite characteristics, including something that skillfully shows that your intention is to benefit not just yourself but other people long term. If you're somebody who's like, I don't know how to change my tire, you don't know how to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know how to chop wood? What? It's like, do you know what I'm saying? But the thing is you have people chasing now this admiration to get into the tribe with the same idea that I will be the gladiator that's undefeated. But once they fall, once that depression hits, because it will, because you're not a gladiator, you have not accomplished anything.
It's just a false want.
You're basically like, I got people to look at me, and
It's like an infiltrator.
and then
a
now,
spy or
yeah,
something.
you're like, and now what? And once you
Yeah.
hit that now what, everything collapses, because there's nothing beyond that other than what it was.
And that's why
in
why
most cases.
the fraud syndrome is so bad. Like people feeling like they're what's it called? Like fraud syndrome. Like it's a word for it. It's like when you feel like you're when you get a new job but you don't really know what you're doing and you don't feel like you're qualified, but you like still pretend. What is it?
Imposter
Imposter syndrome. That's it. Yeah, it's that kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
you're trying to get to the tribe so bad that you deep down you know that you're trying, because you know that when you get there, you feel like an imposter. In reality, like people shouldn't feel this way. Like you should just be yourself and accept good and bad outcomes with the same reality, where it matters. It matters, sure, if they like me, but at the end of the day, it's not going to actually affect my survival. There's always going to be more friends to make. There's always going to be other situations that make me forget about the harm that this situation did. And when people accept that, they can kind of get over that aspect of fear and anxiety of meeting people. But like to kind of get back to, and I had this interesting thought about this, and when you're talking about Britney Spears or celebrities and things like that, like the same way that I was saying that when we build these kind of psychological tribes where I'm actually not interacting with you, I'm just interacting with you online. Maybe you're an online friend that I game with and I don't actually know you, but I have this image of you in my head. It's like I've created a mental tribe member in that way. But the same way goes for envy of social media, celebrities, actors, and whatever. People associate so much of their lives with them and with these movies and all the things that they're influenced by, that they in a way, the same way you talk to your online friend and you've created a mental tribe member, they create these mental tribe members with people that they admire or the people that influence them. So whenever they do something and then they post about it on Twitter or online or something like that, like it's like a friend that's sitting in their room telling them something, or the friend that they know closely, like tweeting about something that matters to them. So now it feels like, that mental tribe member has been created and it's in my room, and I'm physically interacting with this.
Yeah.
So like that's how we're designed. Like I'm not. I'm lonely because I don't interact with people. I make most of my communication through, online and digital means, and I only really interact with one or two people, and like that takes I feel like the impact of that is more vast than we even realize. It's not hard, it's not easy to quantify that, but I think that's the root of it, really. Like at a fundamental level, we've created these mental tribes, so we're susceptible to the same tribal dynamics that would have happened back in the day, where it could mean survival if the tribe broke apart, or if one of the members, did something you didn't like and you feel like you needed to cast them out, but they served a purpose for you socially and survival wise. So it's like these same dynamics work when the celebrities do something that we don't like and we feel like we need to cast them out of our mental tribe, or like they're not accepted anymore. So like we have that same mental framework for when we do interact with people, and when we do have real life experiences that we can't control. We can control the digital world easily because it's just, we look at it or we don't. It's our choice. But in the real world, people are afraid of the uncertainty. They don't know what's going to happen. It's not controllable. You can't think about what you're going to say for 30 minutes before you text it. And that's the way we've been used to communicating on a real like rapport level. So it's harder and harder for people to like actually hang out with somebody and build a strong friendship in person, because we're used to thinking about every single word that we say.
Yeah.
So we just talk about surface level shit and it never goes any deeper.
And I think that's part of the poison of part of the heart of the poison of what social media is. Because when you have a celebrity that you are following, you've kind of accepted into your pack and you're kind of modeling yourself after them. I don't think the anxiety that most of us feel from all of this of like, I need to do better, I need to compete, I need to keep up with all the fakeness on social media and what you see from these celebrities. I don't even think it's all anxiety from that. I think a large part of it is going against your human nature. I think that's the heart of the anxiety and our depression when it comes to this competing. Because it's one thing, I feel like it's very manageable anxiety. If you see somebody that you kind of admire, like this guy is bigger than me, he's stronger than me, and like this guy that like every season his crops are the best. But I feel like I know crops better than him. And you challenge it and you push yourself to see if you can do better than that person. I admire that person in every way, like physically, that is a better person. Yeah. And I've talked to them. They know what they're doing. But I think I got a touch they don't have. And I want to see if it's true. And you push yourself. But it's like when you see the whole world going, screw the guy growing the most crops. Screw the guy figuring out how to try to get rid of cancer. What it's really about is this new song. It's called Mumble Jumble.
It's called Fuck Your Crops.
Fuck your crops, bitch. You're like, that is mumble fumble. Like, I like that shit. The beat slaps. Like, I don't really understand how the lyrics or whatever, but they're just fun. You're like, okay, cool, but like
it gives people a taste of the.
But it's like the anxiety comes from like these are the things that I have to compete with.
Right.
And I can no longer grow crops and be part of this tribe.
Right.
If I grow crops, I might as well be alone.
If everyone in your tribe mentally is like successful and doing all these things that you're not doing, are you going to feel like you're contributing? You feel like a part of that tribe? And that's kind of where I was like, I'm glad that you took it there, because that's really where I was getting. Like, I'm describing just the situation, how I see it on a fundamental level, maybe for the first time. But like, what it actually means is that people are comparing themselves to the other mental tribe members and not actually living up to that. So they feel this kind of envy and
with a disconnect.
They see that in comparison to their life as a lot more drastic than any person that they would meet and become friends with and can actually maybe build with. Like meeting somebody, one of your peers, versus looking at a celebrity and judging yourself based on one of these two people. It's like you're going to feel a lot more comfortable and at odds with the world that you're actually in, like the actual, not the online world, like the people that you would interact with, a lot more comfortably than the person, that's unachievable lifestyle that you want to get to, and that creates a feedback loop where you're never doing as good as you want to do, and you're always reaching for something higher and never succeeding. And it's like that's a psychological fucking washing machine that's like people feel either unfulfilled or like failures. So they're constantly chasing and then falling short of their expectations.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what it is. I mean, it's putting on a pedestal somebody that you know, and it goes the same way when you see a celebrity fall out of celebritydom. They don't have anything to fall back on. It's not like I become the greatest. I yield the greatest crops, and this guy, and they're better, and everybody's like, well, I want his. He always has them, and they're always better quality. That guy goes out of business. What does he do? Does he work at McDonald's, or does he move to a new area and become their best farmer?
Yeah.
You know, it's like you if you're a singer and you get knocked down, you don't have a fallback, you know, unless you've been indoctrinated into the system, and you can become an actor, or maybe we'll make some shoes for you.
But it's
We'll
like,
keep
oh
you
yeah,
alive.
okay, okay, you're a famous actor. All right, help us out by acting. Like, help
Seriously,
us.
you're not gonna
help
be like-
us support the tribe by use your acting skills to like help us build the shelter.
Yeah, like
It's like, oh, okay, well,
all it comes down to is, oh, you're the person. I heard you were on the radio like all the time back in the day. Oh my God, Pitbull! It's so cool to meet you.
you know what,
you wouldn't. But Pitbull's legend, his status is Pitbull. You know,
Yeah.
It's like Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt's a cool
Mr.
guy,
Worldwide.
but his legend is just acting. It's assumed that by acting you also have.
we don't talk
intellect.
about Fight Club. Shit,
You just did, dude.
we'll edit it out in post.
In post. but that's the idea is the anxiety I feel comes with dedicating yourself to compete with something that doesn't give you any fallback. If I put myself in this and I push myself as hard as possible, the best I can do is capture attention, and then I need to work every day to maintain that attention. Once that attention drops, like it's almost harder to get back up because there's
People forget
already
about you.
and there's already like
I think
a
his name,
census on me.
his name was Robert Paulson.
His name was Robert Wilson.
I was actually just waiting.
Say
to
his
s-
name.
I was just trying to wait to sneak that in. I was listening to you still, but I was like, oh, here's an opportunity.
I liked it. Say his name.
His name was Robert Paulson.
His name was Robert Paulson.
His name was Robert. I thought we were gonna sync up. Oh, damn it!
I don't want it to go too far.
All right.
I
sorry,
almost. I was close, and then I was like, ah.
So, all right.
The point of it is,
Yeah, I was gonna bring.
a lot of these things do create a type of anxiety, unrealistic perspectives, things that deep down you'll probably never even hit. But the reason a lot of people I feel are dealing with these anxieties and these depressions, the self of no purpose, is because the only examples they are focused on is realistic examples for this day and age for how to compete, which is really entertainment. So it's like, how do you compete otherwise? Well, you could become an engineer, and people are like,
That doesn't sound sexy.
it doesn't sound sexy. It doesn't sound fun. It also sounds hard. It's like,
Right. It's the hard aspect.
exactly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in your head, it's like, if I like for me, it's like, if I'm going to do something hard, do I want to become an engineer? It's like, no, because I would need the computers. I would need a lot of that stuff. A lot of what I learn as an engineer, I could use in plenty of things in life. But like the majority that I am going to be taught is going to be how to use the software for the people who need me.
Right. You see people having such a. So yeah, it's like,
It's not like,
why would you pay $100,000 to go to college and get a degree that you can use for the lifetime when you could take $100,000 and give $100 to each homeless person that you see, and then make a channel that makes $50,000 a year or something.
But
It's like people see that and they're like, why can't I do that? Why would I go study and be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer when I could just give homeless people money and film it and people give me money? It's like younger kids are kind of like a weird trend that I've seen. A couple of the younger kids that I've met, like through family and friends, it's interesting how many of them say that they want to grow up to be a YouTube star.
Oh yeah.
Or TikTok star or something. They're all like, I want to grow up to be.
Yeah, and in our generation said doctors, lawyers, actors and actresses, musicians, like we all wanted to play guitar.
Like the rock star, the football player, like it's
definitely passed down.
Shoot to the.
But what I'm really getting at is, while you could become an engineer and go to school and learn how to do things, and a lot of what you learn can be applied to real life, but the majority of what you're learning, not the majority, but a good chunk of what you're learning is how to, not necessarily the schools, but like once you're doing anything, it's how to apply, like
how you apply your mind.
It's computer stuff, it's paperworks. It's when people think of applying themselves, if you're really going to dedicate yourself to something, it's going to be something that helps you. So engineering was a bad example because there are aspects that you could use if the world ended.
Well, I mean, yeah, like
for building your own shelter, water solutions.
That's something like, but it's a hard thing to learn, and
it was a bad example, but it's actually one of the better examples for the opposing argument.
Right, you could do something useful. But useful.
Let's say becoming, let's say I want to become, I'm going to go to work to become a manager of my own restaurant. It's like nothing I really learned throughout any of that process will ever help me if that ends, other than trying to apply that to the next thing within the same framework. Let's say world ends. The singers, you can't help me. The actors, I don't trust you. You're lying. I don't trust you. You're like a lawyer to me.
Right.
Lawyers, I don't trust you either. Doctors, you guys can get in here. But like the majority of people, it's like you want people who know what to do. There is the reason we react to this anxiety and these feelings is because, like you said in the beginning, these are in tune things with the world that we've had all throughout life. But very recently in human life, all of those major threats are gone and they've been replaced with your biggest threat is not fitting in. So the idea is part of you knows that dedicating yourself to following this actor that you look up to and you feel this stuff to, there's still this weird anxiety of like what I'm following. Like it's like it's an all or nothing shot, because if anything happens, I'm back to ground zero. Either I don't become an actor and I have to start over and find something else to do, or I become an actor. And then, something happens, the world ends, movies are out, who knows what the thing is. There's a big actors strike for a while. You never know what could go on longer than expected. You never know what can happen. And what did you learn that you can apply to your life? Nothing.
Yeah.
And that's the idea. Is I think part of the anxiety of this reality right now is this generation knowing that it's following something that produces nothing for themselves.
Right.
It's a weird selfish thing where it's like, I want money, so I'll sell myself without really gaining any skills for it, with the anxiety of if this doesn't work, basically I'm out of shots. And
right,
there's not a lot of fallbacks on that.
We can't all be YouTube stars. That's the thing. All these kids growing up, they can't all be YouTube stars. That's all based on advertising money. So it's like people have this false sense, and I think that it gets back to the idea that they see people sustaining a beautiful life without any worries and have achieved everything without trying that hard. It's easy to, like, from a psychological level, if you see an actor that's successful, that they're sexy, and you're envious of them, it's because they are succeeding at life without going to work and hunting the boar or something like that. They are just looking good or singing good, and they're doing all these things that are easy. So our minds say, I want to do something where I just have life work out for me, and I just do something easy. Doing something hard is a lot harder. I can see all these other people doing easy things. I want to do an easy thing. So everybody kind of has this idea in their mind that they're going to have life easy and have a career or make money and provide for themselves in an easy way. Well, it's like, yeah, you could take that risk. It's only a small percentage of people that are able to sustain that, but you could try that. And a lot of people do, and I have, and I still am. You know, it's like we all want a better life. We all want to take the easy way out. But it's when you put everything into it and you don't consider the fundamental aspects of the value of actually becoming a better person, things like that. Like most people, you know, that's what we're talking about that tonight, the negative aspect. It's like most people are stuck in that state of doubt where they're not trying these new things. They want to, they might, and then they fail once and then they stop. But it's like, oh, well, that's not how the mind works. You learn from failure. You got to push. You got to go beyond that. But most people aren't willing to do the hard step of failing because they're afraid of getting cast out of the tribe. They're afraid of being killed. They're afraid of, you know, psychological damage that equates the same relativity as back then and dying as it is to die inside today. You know, it's like, and we're so afraid of offending people and hurting people because it's the same thing as if we beat each other with clubs. It's the same psychological damage as far as our mind's concerned. We're afraid of that. It's not reality, but we're afraid of getting beat over the head by the club the same way that we are afraid of being called a name. Because it's all relative. We know we're not in danger physically, but we are still afraid of the same magnitude because that's the response that's been programmed.
That's why I think one of the healthiest things people can do is really imagine the world falling apart. Imagine everything ends. No electricity, no anything. What it really comes down to is how secure are you? How together have you prepared yourself to be for you? You know, how much time have you spent on you? You know, if you see the world ending and you're like, well, I would just lose it. It's like, well, there's parts missing of you. Those parts make you confident. You know, those are the skilled trades, the things that say, no matter what, I'm good. We can go camping. I'm going to be your best friend camping. Yeah. We could do this. We could do that. Like in any situation, I can apply what I know to make the situation better. You know? Well,
I guess I'm not
necessarily... But what I'm saying is, like, it's good to have a fallback for, like, a skill trade or something that you can apply to other things.
Yeah.
If the world ends, is singing going to help you? No. Then don't make your whole life and your anxieties surround, you know, how well you sing. Let that be a hobby. You know, but find something that you can be proud of yourself for. That's the biggest thing. Don't look at these idols because if the world ends, they don't know what the hell they're doing. They might have money, but money's not an issue anymore. Like, people are going after you because they know you got a fast car.
Well, I mean,
and they want to drive it.
And at the same time, a lot of these successful people have conquered the mind, and they're not afraid to do these things that other people are. So the same people that want to be like these people that they envy are afraid to do the things that those people do because they feel like they're not worthy. They feel like they're, in comparison, a lot less for them. So why would they try? Because they think other people are going to compare them to what Beyonce did or this person. So it's like when you show up wearing the wrong clothes to the party, but it's like you dressed up or something like that, it's one thing to say in your head, oh, I'm just like my favorite celebrity. It's another thing when it happens and people react in the wrong way. So now this person that I think that I'm being cool like that only I know, it's maybe an obscure person that I like, and then everyone else in high school that I go to this thing with, you know, doesn't get it, and now I look weird. It's like, in my mind, I thought it was cool. So it's like, you know, we have people so dug into different little microcosms of digital, not false reality, but like, you know, what's the right word?
Expectations.
No, just artificial reality. So you have so many people invested in all these different things. You can get lost in anime, or you can get lost in sports, or you know, all these different things. So it's like everybody has their own microcosm of what they care about and think about. So when you're interacting with people now in the modern day, I feel because I'm kind of getting to the root of some of these mental health problems, and I think, you know, at a fundamental level, you know, the people are the most damaged by the vulnerability, like the idea of being vulnerable or being rejected.
That's why I say learn
so
basic trades. Learn how to start your own fire with just wood. Learn how to do basic things. It sounds silly because we don't need to do that. But do the things that back in the day we did.
Yeah.
Learn how to do those, and then make that your building block, and then learn how to do this, learn how to do that, learn how to change your own oil, learn how to change a tire. It's so basic. These basic house things, the things that you do every day, learn how to do the stuff that everybody else has to call somebody for. Learn skilled trades. Then your hobby of singing can become something, and and the weight isn't on the hobby. The weight is on you. And what's the weight on you? Well, if anything happens, I'm good. I know tons of people who don't know how to change a tire. Tons of people who don't know how to start a fire. Like, if you can be that person, then no matter what, you have some ground to, I have value. It sounds silly, but there's basic things that we can all do that reground us and go, I am capable. I am capable. If I want to learn how to change a tire, I teach myself and I do it. I did it, and I did it successfully. I know people who can't. So I've already done something that we should all know how to do and don't. And then learn how to do fire. Learn how to skin, clean a fish. Learn how to do these things. And all I'm saying is, when it comes to the social market, when it comes to all the anxieties of the mental health and all of this stuff,
yeah.
What I believe the source of mental health is no value. You don't feel like you have value.
Right.
So you're competing with people who have no value. And then you're trying to basically mimic something with no value while you already don't feel like you have value. And then when it doesn't start to show up, you just reaffirm to yourself, I don't just have no value. I have less value than that, because subconsciously I never even saw value in that. Everybody else did. So you're trying to become something that you never saw value in. And then you're upset that you feel like you don't have value in yourself. Do something simple for you. It doesn't have to be what everybody sees. Do things that you know humans do. Humans eat. Learn how to make a fire, learn how to catch a fish, learn how to clean a fish.
Yeah.
That's what humans do. Humans drive cars. You could learn how to change a tire so that if your tire pops, you're not standing on the side of the road for a half hour waiting for a tow truck or somebody to change. You can sit there and go, I can do this. I can do things. I'm capable.
You're talking about the good prescriptions for humanity that actually people should do. I'm just trying to talk about the degenerate shit, the way things are. But and I wanted to get back. Like, I liked where you're going. I want to get back to that, but I want to also get down to the shitty way things are.
Shitty gritty.
and like, this is like part of the. To go on kind of what I was saying. I started in a good place, and I went to one aspect of it, but another aspect that I was talking about, kind of the microcosms of people, like they're living in the world that they enjoy, and that they. The majority, if the majority of the time when you go home is spent watching like anime or something, like the specific anime, and you know all the things about it, and then you go out and interact in the world, and you're like wearing something that's like kind of that normal people don't understand, and it's ridiculous, but in your head you think that it's cool and that everybody understands it. You know, like that it's such a big part of my life. Like, someone has to at least recognize this, or like
Like people who
And-
sing
and
lyrics to a
that-
song out loud, and it's like,
Right,
we don't all feel
exactly.
that.
Exactly, and it's
This should change my
that's
life.
just
You're
a-
like, really?
that's another good example. I use the anime thing just as a random example, but like there's so many things that everybody cares about something that like nobody else that we all think that other people care about more than we do.
Yeah.
So it's like people feed into that, and I think that like that's kind of where mental health allows a psychologically vulnerable person who doesn't have much value and is in a state where they don't really have a social outlet that is going well. They will often, with the influence of these digital spaces and this mental tribe that people build, that's like a artificial reality, they will tend to lean heavily into certain beliefs and ideas, and that's kind of how they want to come across physically, and like that leads to mental health because it's a false representation of reality to other people that you believe no one else sees.
What's up?
And
Yeah.
and I think that's kind of like on a global scale, that's what we have on happening microcosms every here and where, and they all kind of blend together, and we all see it, all the fucking shit happen on the internet. But it's like in reality, you have a bunch of people that believe different stuff and see the world a certain way, and we're all just thinking that everyone else either sees it or doesn't see it, and it's like, why don't you see it?
Yeah. Yeah. And I got to use it. But yeah, no, I think that's
Well, we should end soon anyway.
But I think that's a big point of it is it's subconsciously we know there's no value, but we compete because of everybody else. We all know that most of the stuff means nothing, but we compete because the value we've all put on it. For example, a song that you really like, that you're singing out loud, that you think matters, and everybody hears it, you're just giving it value. So you're just reaffirming to everybody else that this stuff does have value. Subconsciously, though, the same person singing it knows that there's not really value in it other than what they kind of got out of it themselves. So everybody starts competing for something that subconsciously we know doesn't produce anything other than what we got from it. So we start trying to compete to produce, but we don't have anything to produce other than to compete. That's why you get all this mumble shit and these lyrics that are meaning nothing, is because they're coming from people who didn't go through the struggles to create the music that influenced people. It's people influenced by
the false representations of a false reality.
It's people influenced by the success of their struggles. So now everybody's trying to mimic. Let me try to sell this without me going through struggles. I was motivated by the success. Now, subconsciously, we all know that we're not produced, that like there's a reason why Willie Nelson got famous. Probably because he had a crazy life. And that crazy life gave so much perspective that he was able to sing music that a lot of people related to.
Yeah.
You could say that about Johnny Cash. You could say that about a lot of older rock bands, everything. But when you look at music now, when you take the old struggle out that produced all of that, you have people who are like, well, we see now that we don't have the struggles they had, but we see the success they brought. So how do I recreate the success without this? We're all motivated by the same thing. Take away the struggle and people are still going to follow the success. But subconsciously, we all know there's no substance anymore. So that creates a whole backlash of like people following stuff that you're not the one really producing it. And deep down, you know that. You're just mimicking things because all of that came from struggle. It came from something.
You can go to the bathroom. We'll keep going for a bit. This
had
is
to
good.
be so bad, dude.
But let
like,
us know in the chat if you guys
that calmed
agree.
it down.
Let
Sometimes
us-
a good rant will calm down
Okay, all right. We'll
a bladder pant.
But like,
to make it
anyway,
rhyme.
guys, like
work.
we're doing this live. It's a little bit late, but if you see this in the chat, or if you see this tomorrow, or then sometime in the future,
If you see
let us
it.
know what you guys think in the comments. We'll respond to you. We do this show live every Wednesday, so if you want to join, we will respond to you. We got the chat pulled up here. But, and yeah, like I wanted to keep going on what you're saying. And it was, okay. Basically, what is happening is a false representation of a false reality. You know, you have these people, these influencer. It's like the influencer culture. It's like you have people that are renting Lamborghinis, driving around like they own them, taking pictures in front of all these cool places to have this lifestyle thing to where they can get ads and ad revenue on this stuff. So it's like it's a small bang for a big buck in a way, but it's like it's a false representation of a false reality. You're not actually living that reality. This is not how you live. And if you were doing it, if you were living that way, you wouldn't be spending your time taking pictures of yourself. You would be doing whatever allowed you to achieve that level of success. So it's like we see this, and it's like we think that success can be just being cool and having things, and like it's somewhere in between wanting to be seen and wanting to leave an impact on this world and wanting to take the easy way out to provide for yourself, or achieve a mate or have sex or better your social status. That we see all these things in a frame of our lives, and learning math or whatever is not sexy. Being a TikTok star is. So all these kids are growing up and they're seeing like, this is what people do to make, these are our rock stars. These are our footballs,
And that's the idea is even if I fail, at least people will remember me where I was. Again, Mr. Beast, or let's say I Show Speed. I Show Speed. I actually like the guy. I think he's he's actually a good guy.
Well, Mr. Beast is fucking generic. He's the Pfizer of fucking...
He's like if anybody was the CIA plan to create all of this stuff, it was Mr. Beast. But like I Show Speed seems like a real dude, normal guy who just started to get famous and tried to acclimate to it. Tried to understand
the I Show Speed.
I Show Speed. He seems like he tried to actually tried to understand people.
Yeah.
So that he could kind of adjust to
kind of a genuine person.
And I think it shows, and
people hunger for genuineness.
Yeah, they do. But that's the beauty of the genuineness is you can't sell that to people unless it's real.
Yeah.
So like I think he's worked pretty hard on himself. Kai Cenat's a goofball, but I think he's done some work on himself. I think they're both like stand-up people, but at the same time, like,
see, you're putting them in your mental tribe right now.
But
that's normal. We do that.
But that mental tribe is based off of what you're selling the people. And what are you selling the people?
But it's almost a genuine person.
But almost everybody's selling a fake thing.
Yeah.
Now, somebody like, even I Show Speed, he's selling a real version of himself. But the thing is if it all falls apart, what people are fighting for, the reason everybody's doing this is because if I Show Speed, if everything falls apart for him publicly,
yeah,
he's still known as being I Show Speed in the tribe. You don't have to know him.
Right. He's left
his career is done. You see him 10 years later. Your first response is, I Show Speed?
Right.
And he turns around. Why? Because the tribe still recognizes.
Yeah, it's a goal.
When you take away the purpose and you say, hey, none of you have any value to anything. You can't help make a fire. You can't help do this. The world, the world and its amenities can do everything you could do better.
Yeah.
When you take away the fundamental human purpose, then people compete. That's why you have like the hard struggles that create in music. And then you have the people without the hard struggles go, well, we're just going to imitate music. But the thing is
it's sorry, not to hijack it, but it's the same way people conquer nations and build pyramids. It's that they want to be remembered and left, they want to be the king. They want to be the top.
Everybody
Top dog,
wants
the king of pop.
I gotta
the
pee.
king,
Everybody wants a statue now, but nobody knows what to do to get it. They see people getting statues for singing. They say, you know what? Maybe I don't need the struggle. If I can just do the singing, I can get the statue. Then you see that. Then you go, you know what? I can make shit up and get a statue for me. And it becomes a repetitive thing where it's diluting it. It's music by itself. I'm only doing the one argument of music. There's everything. But just with music.
It's metaphorical for a lot of things.
You got Johnny Cash. Influenced a lot of stuff. But Johnny Cash, you could hear struggle. You could hear overcomings.
Yeah, you could.
But the thing is when you take that out of humanity, people still hunger for it. That's still the bar, still the expectation. So you're having everybody follow the same thing, but without the same purpose, and it's becoming diluted and empty.
Let's end it here, man. I actually have to go.
Yeah, drag it out with the ending. Do your finishing as slow.
All right, I'll do the finish. I'll wait till you come back. So yeah, tonight we talked about mental health and kind of the negative aspect of the mind. There's honestly more to go off of all that. I think honestly, I had some interesting thoughts tonight, just off the cusp about new thoughts about the way that we kind of process information and what might be leading to some of the mental health issues that we face. Honestly, it's hard to say a prescription for that. It's a reaction to what we've been exposed to, and I've kind of built that case tonight that it's no wonder that there's a mental health problem. We're subject to these kind of stimulus, artificial realities, things like that. But honestly, understanding how that works, understanding where you fit in, just kind of being self-aware and being willing to conquer the fear. That's really what it's about. Like you have anxiety for future events because it's uncertainty. You have regret for the past because you could always have done things better. We all have regret for the past. Future things are especially important because it's how you handle what's coming next. Like how you handle what's in the past, that's a different episode. How you handle what's coming in the future is, you have to
prepare.
You have to conquer the fear and doubt. You have to know that you are not going to be cast out of the tribe. You're not going to be killed. You're going to survive. The relative fear that we have now is not the same as it was when we were facing the saber-toothed tiger at night with the torch. It's not the same as getting cast out of the tribe and having to fend for yourself only to die like a couple months later. If you mess up socially or even if you destroy your reputation, everything like that, one, you're still going to survive. And two, you're always going to be able to rebuild or something.
Shoot, nowadays you have the option to just grab whatever money you can get and just get a ticket, plane ticket, and just go to another country.
Right, reinvent
and
yourself.
Just start over.
And we have that ability. And people don't factor that in when they see a group of people like a group of hyenas, or when they face their fears, and it's like looking at that saber-toothed tiger, like that is, I think, what's causing the mental health problem at its root is that we're out of place, and the more afraid people are, and the more isolated people have become digitally, because of digital means, the less equipped we are for the physical world. And so when we get into the physical world, our minds and our bodies, unknowing to us, respond in a certain way because it's the first time my physical eyes have seen a group of people this large. I'm all of a sudden nervous, and I can't even explain why. and science can't measure why. And this is all kind of comes down to situational stuff. But these are the same factors that they're applied to all of us. And I think that is, the changing of those factors, the ramping up of certain things where we can no longer rationalize our survival based on physical, I'm going to die, I'm going to be killed, I'm going to hurt my leg and not be able to be nursed back to health. Those things are not even considered by us. So we take risks that are unnecessary. It develops mental health issues, like, really going into certain realities and leaning into stuff that's just not healthy because we think that it's going to make us stand out and become, something that is going to last throughout time. There's a lot there, man. But anyway.
Yeah. No,
that's it.
No,
it's fucked up. It's fucked. We're dealt the fucked up hand, but it doesn't mean.
But
just self-awareness, and you can come over all of that.
But I do
just
think
listen to this podcast.
I do think that's one of the biggest things people don't accommodate for. And for my closing, that's a lot of it is we're separating what we naturally know is right, and we're being dealt a bad hand of coming into a new future that has nothing to do with us. I mean, that's the reality, is it's like all this new technology, the way everything's going, we're not needed. We were needed we've always needed each other to help us get through things.
Yeah.
But we're at a time where we don't need anybody. There's people who get therapy through AI. You could live in your house and just isolate yourself and have a work from home thing, do school from home. You could never leave your house. And when you start falling apart, you talk to a robot to try to put you back together. I'm just saying we are in a weird time. There's no question about that. But I stand by what I said as far as to help yourself with depression, anxiety, all this stuff in these new times. Go to the basics. Go back to, simple things of learning how to make a fire. Learn basic things, that interest you. If you're interested with if you're like, hey, they're poisoning our water. Learn how to actually purify your own water naturally, and practice it until you understand it, and you can do it without really thinking. Do the same thing with fire. What happens when electricity and gas and everything's when the grid goes down? We won't just have gas sent to our house. It won't be going through the pipelines the same. Electricity won't flow the same. What do I do then? You don't have a backup. Learn, figure it out.
Well, I mean,
I'm just saying when you have
build the relationship. I'm just saying, with people you're in.
Build the relationship with yourself first, and then see what you have to offer to other people. And when you offer things to other people, they will give in return. And that's how you gain friends. That's how you gain people, is when you don't say, what do you have to offer? But you walk up and you say, I have things to offer. And you offer them, in whatever way that is. If you're good at drawing, find somebody. I hate to feed into this new world thing, but if you're good at drawing, find somebody who's, starting their own podcast to try to draw up some idea sketches for them for what their thing could be. Learn computer work so you could do that stuff. If you want to go into the grid, there's plenty of ways where you could still offer stuff to people. But if you want to get out of anxiety and depression, I think the quickest way is to ground yourself. When you escape the phone, get rid of everything. Use the phone maybe for some YouTube videos to learn. But once you learn it, practice it by yourself, and then
use it to your advantage.
Yeah, learn how to make a fire, learn how to purify your own water, learn how to catch fish, learn how to clean them, learn how to cook. That's it. Go camping, do it all by yourself.
And
have a fire that you built next to you that keeps you safe. Go out and fish, learn, and do all this stuff challenge yourself. Be like, I'm going to try to catch a fish without the rod I've gotten good with. I'm going to
Well,
try to just
and-
catch a fish.
And I would say too,
You know,
to add to
Get there,
that,
Boney.
strengthen the relationships. Strengthen the relationship that you have with physical people. It's going to be your family members.
But with value.
It's right. With
Even if
value,
it's
like,
character,
the right
work on
intention.
yourself.
It's,
you know?
it's your family and it's your friends and it's the people you meet in the store and random places. Like, focus on those relationships for like a period of 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, when you see somebody who's sad,
like,
when you see somebody who's sad who doesn't offer value and doesn't really try to give to anybody, you judge them. But when you do the same thing to your family, you just expect the love. You know, to your friends and family, push yourself to become a better person and really offer a better version of yourself to your friends and your family. And you'll be surprised at the results you get when you become somebody other than the person that you criticize.
Yeah.
You know, be somebody tell yourself, I'm going to be somebody that my family or my friends can't say I don't offer anything to. Learn to offer something. Figure out what it is they complain about. Work on it. They love you. So fix the things that they're telling you are hurting you. When you get good at these things, you'd be surprised at how much value it adds, not just to yourself, but to other people and how much they change towards you. And you go, well, they love me. I shouldn't have to change for them to love me. Well, you judged the same people the same way that you would if they acted like you and they weren't contributing, they weren't trying. It all comes down to standards. You know, you have to at least apply the same standards for yourself. If you're going to be depressed, angry, and hate everything, at least do it evenly. If you don't hate yourself for being as lazy as the people you hate, then okay, you can hate people because you're not lazy at all. You know, but it's like what it comes down to is seriously criticize yourself, break it down, and figure out what makes you happy that'll add value to you and other people. And I mean, it could be one simple change you make and it'll rewire the trajectory of your entire mind, future, and soul to something new. Search for truth. Search for truth.
Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. Give the channel a like and or the channel follow and the video a like.
Do it all.
And we'll see you every Wednesday live or join us on the channel. Let us know what you think. Meta Perspective Podcast. Out.
Until next time.
Meta Perspective Podcast.